Blessings, family. Greetings and salutations. And may the expectation that you have in this life be the experience that you meet. But you must remember, in order to meet this expectation, you have to be willing to do the work. It is only when we stand in our own truth can we be delivered from the condition that we're in. And this thing helps us guide. See, in the science of mind, it's called this thing because we want you to know that no matter what you call it, it will deliver you, it will protect you, it will provide for you whatever it is that you need. See, when you make it small enough for you to comprehend it, then you can use it. See, but when you call it Lord God, sometimes on this human plane, we give it so much power that we don't even know that it's right here inside of us. So even though it is grand, even though it is magnificent, even though it is spectacular, it is a thing that works in us. Amen. So you see, this month's theme is a father's divine guidance. And this idea came with a suggestion. And this suggestion brought to my mind, how is it that we receive what it is that we need? And so in life, in most instances, a father is the head of the household. And so this father is supposed to provide everything that the family needs. And this provision is given not only through the works of his hand, but also from the love in his heart. See, you have to have love in order to understand who is granting it to you. See, love is given unconditionally. And we have to recognize love in all things in order to receive. And sometimes that love comes with discomfort. Sometimes the power or the condition we may find ourselves in, even though it is teaching us, it hurts us so bad that we don't even recognize we're loved. But it is when we look past that circumstance and we know that we're still standing despite how it wounded us, that is when we know that we are loved. And then we're supposed to draw this love unto us so that we can utilize it. So the idea here is to call upon him. See, the calling is what is going to bring God into our experiences. See, we get into these circumstances and we don't call on God because we think God shouldn't have put us here in the first place. God ain't put us nowhere. We made a decision based on what it is that we think about our lives. See, most of us in here, we were told what wasn't possible. And when we're told what is not possible, we think less of ourselves than what we are. We're all great. We're all wonderful. We're all magnificent. I don't care where we start, but we all start from the same place, not knowing. So it is our job to know ourselves, know our limitations, whatever there may be, but work through them in the process of finding out who it is we are. See, this God is so infinite that it says he is the beginning and the end. And this beginning and the end, we don't know where it starts and we don't know where it begins. We don't know. But we know that it is forever moving and changing all circumstances. See, this power, it is written that this power spoke into the universe. And then from its speaking, it brought all things into existence. And this bringing forth into existence is what has brought us into existence. And therefore, when it spoke into the ether, it says that then this man appeared. That's you and I. And when this man appeared, he breathed the breath of life into his nostrils. That breathing is giving us everything that we need. You need will. You need peace. You need gloves. What do you need? That's how you have to imagine this, that this power has given it to us. We just have to learn where it's at. So we ask the question, where must I go to receive this thing that I need? See, we don't like asking ourselves questions because when we ask questions sometimes, especially in class, it don't make us look like we know anything. So as humans, we won't do it, like we're ashamed to ask questions. But if you don't ask a question, how you going to get the answer? You have to ask a question in order to understand what is necessary, what it is that you need to know to become that who you are. We are so caught up in the way in which somebody else thinks we should be, the way that somebody else should be living their life. We have to live. That's why it says judge not. See, because when you start making judgments, and then those same judgments is what comes back to our lives. See, and then the things that we do start showing up. And then we don't recognize why it is we feel so bad, because you judge something. And that idea is coming back to you. And so you look at, so then us, let me be clear, us. So it's that divine guidance that we have to look to. See, divine guidance, it is a special influence from a deity that is on the minds of humans. See, this revelation from the book is supposed to give us inspiration. It's not supposed to make us feel bad about what we've done. It's supposed to, and not look for condemnation or look for the fire and the hell and brimstone to come. What it's saying is, if you experience that, what happened is that you made a mistake. That's it. And from that mistake, sometimes we may experience what the Bible, how it was written, just identifies as a lashing or God rebuking. But it is only trying to align us with what it is that we need to be doing. See, we have to operate from a default mode. And I want you to see the default mode as God is, I am. God is, I am. God is, I am. God is, I am. If you don't feel it, I'm going to get you to feel it. Eventually, you're going to feel it. Because it is only when we stand in that truth can we live it. If we don't think that God is moving and operating in us, we'll never fulfill our destiny. And the reason being is because we don't think we can. That's the only reason we haven't done the things that we haven't done. That is the only, whatever it is in mind that we haven't done is something in us that don't believe is possible. And if we don't think it's possible, how could you expect someone else to think it's possible for you? You are your own power. You are the link to your success. You are the will. You are the hope. You are the faith. You are it. Yes, it comes down from above. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But what does that mean? It comes down to you, to your mind. That's what it's saying. It's not going to come down in a way that you're going to look up into the sky. It's saying look up to look for it so that you understand it. Because in school, I learned that when you look to left, it's saying that you're looking for the aspiration or the ideas to drop into your mind. See? And a lot of times, because of what we've done, we don't want to look at what we've done and how it's coming. It's reminding us, man, clean it out. Clean it out. It's only when we can, that's the only time we're going to be able to get rid of it. Something just popped in. I had to let it go because I'll get to it in a second. You see, and so from this breathing, from this giving, from a love center, God has provided everything. And as we walk through our journeys, we're supposed to listen for the voice within us, speak out into the atmosphere like in the beginning, and allow and see with expectation it coming back forth to us. See, it says that the Father said, I will make a man and I will make him in my image. It's not talking about physical, y'all. It ain't talking about physical. It's talking about the power to change your circumstances. It's talking about being able to provide what you need from your family. It's talking about being able to heal your body. Oh, y'all don't want to heal your bodies. Y'all don't want to heal your body. See, with these new inventions in science, bless them, because they also come from God, right? But what happens is that because they exist, we no longer call God into our lives to heal those things that are bothering us, that are aching us. We just, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to go to the doctor and I'll be all right. Or we don't go. You cannot receive what you don't expect to have. You cannot. It is impossible. And this power, this voice, it gave us power and dominion. Power and dominion. And then we get the opportunity to speak to it. Are you speaking into your circumstances? Okay. Okay. If you said it like that, you proud. So after this power gave us the strength, the idea to be able to do this, it set us free to choose to become whatever it is that you want to do. So that's why sometimes that small, still voice is not recognized by us, because sometimes that voice is too small for our big ego. See, because we bad, right? We're the ones who are going through this experience. So therefore, even though we have assistance, sometimes we think it's us. And I'm just pointing out here how we think sometimes. Because it is when we know ourselves, and this is why we got to look at what we're doing. See, and it's nothing wrong that we have made those mistakes, but it's good for us to identify it so that we can clean up, we can wipe away, we can transform that idea. Because as long as we hold on to it, we're going to repeat that action. See, it's like repetitive. Things that we do over and over and over, we're going to repeat them. And that's in all things because it's based on what we think. See, it's not just because sometimes we think that, well, I didn't do it. No, maybe literally you didn't do it yet, right? But you're thinking about it. You're revving your mind up. See, because this world is a world that builds off of ideas. So if you have an idea in mind that you want to bring forth, it goes into the atmosphere. And this atmosphere receives it. And as it receives it, it begins to form it in the way that we've requested it. Just look around. Just look at the lives that we live. That's the proof. And if we haven't seen it, take a look later. You'll see. This divine guidance, it led a shepherd boy to defeat a giant. See, in the defeating a giant just means that whatever circumstances we may find ourselves in, if we believe that we are empowered and equipped to handle it, we will. Some people told David, "You too small." You ever heard that? You think you can beat Goliath? Yeah, they told him that. They said, "You gonna fight him with a slingshot and 5 rocks?" Oh yeah, he's a giant. David believed that it was possible. And as he watched the army flee, he said, "I will challenge him and defeat him." What are you saying to your conditions? See, if we trust in this divine guidance, we will not be defeated or forsaken. And I know some of us read the book where it says in Deuteronomy, the Lord himself shall go before you, and he will be with you, and he will never forsake you. If we don't learn nothing else in the Bible, we should grab that and run with it until it produces another verse within us. See, when we're down, we may not see what God is doing. That's when we have to trust God and not run away. God has our back, and he comes through for us every time. Every time. Yeah, you're physically doing it, but guess what? He heard your voice. It says he heard the moaning and the groaning and the wonders. That just means that he heard the needs, the wants. This has brought and changed all circumstances. I was about to get lost. Despite David's stature, despite our stature, we can't show fear or believe that I don't have the ability to protect my kingdom or my family. See, because fear and faith cannot coexist. We must believe or flee. A father's divine guidance is not recognized by a double-minded person. And so in Matthew, it goes on to say, excuse me, no man can serve 2 masters. So that's ideas. That's all it's saying. It's ideas. It's just the way that they wrote back then, right? Because if we serve it, it's like, because you serve to a master. That's the way they thought. Like, so I serve a master, so, if I serve it, then this is how. But basically what they're saying is, if you give something attention, it will take you away, or it would overtake what it is that you really believe about yourself. See, that's how we got to begin to see. We got to break this book down so that it makes sense to us. We have to get away from the old English or the old, the old way of thinking. Not that we need to leave it, because it still works, because it's belief in it. It's faith in it, right? It works. I'm just saying, for those of us who need to hear it differently, we have to find a way to make it connect and resonate with us, because some of us are on a different vibration, and we need to hear it where it can move us and make it more plain for us. And this is just what I just try to do. For either he will hate one and love the other, or else he will hold on to one and despise the other. We got to make a choice in what it is we want to do. You want to be healed, or we don't want to be healed? You want to be happy, or you want to be sad? Oh, I want to be happy. Okay, well, it may take some work for you to do to be happy. It ain't going to just show up. See, and that's the thing that we think because we come to church, because we start dressing different, we start moving a little different, that we're not going to run across problems because now God is protecting me. No, you protect yourself with your wisdom. Wisdom. That's why man must seek, and that's why the Bible says that you have to have a renewing of your mind. So your thinking have to become adequate with the way in which you want to live. You want to live better? You got to think better. You got to think better about yourself. If you see yourself struggling in life, just pause and remember, you're not alone. It may seem like you're alone because no one knows what you're going through, but you better believe that it has touched every household on this universe. So all you have to do is sit back and just say, Father, I thank you. I thank you for pausing me in this moment so that I can see what it is I need to move towards. See, it's only asking us to become something. If we're ailing, we need to speak to the ailment. If we need finances, we need to speak to the finances. Don't give up. Don't lose hope, because a Father's divine guidance is always amongst us. See, we cannot serve faith and fear at the same time. We either must stand in our glory or learn from our defeat. Man, I need some water. This is weird. Excuse me. And it's warm. Oh, thank you, brother. Because I'm working on you. We either must stand in our glory or learn from our defeat. And that does not mean that we won't win or that it's impossible. It just means that we have not comprehended our Father's divine guidance for us. And we must go back and reacquaint ourselves with this knowledge that is waiting on us to accept it. See, we have to understand who is representing us and who it is that has been blessing us. See, because this divine wisdom and guidance has been working all throughout the universe. This divine wisdom has led a lame man by the pool in Bethesda. This Father's divine guidance has led the woman with the issue of blood. This Father's divine guidance led Quimby from consumption. This Father's divine guidance has led the Fillmores from their chronic illnesses. So much so that Mary Fillmore said, "I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness. Speak to the condition, and it shall be removed." A Father's divine guidance led a boy on 43rd and Main to overcome his experience with asthma, where he could run and he can go and get educated because he was able to physically do something for his family and his body that allowed him to go get his college degree. This is present day. God is always working. Don't hesitate, activate. You got to activate the power. See, God is the same yesterday and today. And we have to practice daily. See, we stand up here, and these ideas and suggestions come because of what it is that we're experiencing in our own lives. And then while we're here talking, we feel your presence. And from your presence, we pick up something else, and then we'll go on to something else. See, in hopes of or knowing that when you hear it, it will reveal to you what it is that you need to do. See, that's how spirit works. And they call it condemnation, but it's not condemning. It's just saying, hey, return unto me. That's all it's really saying, right? You got to make it fun, plain, and interesting in order for you to use it. If you waiting on God to come down with a lightning bolt or a surfboard, you're going to be waiting a long time. They have stated that the universe has been around 99 trillion years. No one really knows. It's just as far back as science has learned what they can identify. And no one, so far, has returned from. So you have to understand that it's an idea of the way in which it works. That's what we have to start recognizing. How the power will come to us. Recognize that. That's all it's saying. So don't be afraid. You know, and like I say in the Bible, the arrows by night or the rocks, right? Don't be afraid. Like, stand in your truth. Stand in your power and your presence. You are your armor. Your armor is your voice. That's your armor, right? We don't wear breastplates today. You can, but we ain't wearing breastplates and all that, right? So you have to use the words in your mouth to speak to whatever circumstance. Don't matter what it is, just don't be afraid to speak to it. Because if you speak to it, you will move it out of the way. See, the Bible says you will know a tree by the fruit it bears. Our lives should reflect our beliefs. And when we are in alignment with truth, we will automatically produce effective results. So learn from our results. Learn from everything, every experience. The Bible states that a man's foe is in his own household. The things that we believe are the things that condemn us from our divine power. It is our own thoughts working against us, opposing our own will. This is why we must humble ourselves and pray for the protection of God and let it surround us daily by calling on the protection. I'm going to share this affirmation with you. And as I read the affirmation, don't say it out loud with me. Or better yet, this is how I'll do it, okay? We're going to say it out loud. Then when we get to the part in red, class, when we get to the part in red, say it to yourself, okay? Don't be ashamed. Don't say it out loud. Say it to yourself, okay? So let us affirm. The God power within me is greater than the power causing me to, thank you, I yield my mind and body to the God power within me that brings peace to my mind and body. I give thanks to the God power of my mind for giving me self-mastery. Let's say it again. The God power within me is greater than the power causing me. I yield my mind and body to the God power within me that brings peace to my mind and body. I give thanks to the God power of my mind for giving me self-mastery. Become self-mastery over your lives. This is really what the book is really advising and recommending us to do. That's really it. See, because the confusion happened from greed and from people needing to dominate people, from people who want to be kings and queens and emperors and princes. This is what happened. And so when people want to rule, they have to make you less than them in order to rule you. See, this is why we have to free our mind. This is why. And don't be ashamed of anything that you know that you learn. And if someone is not on the same level or is not thinking in the way in which you think, you bless them. And you move on. You don't need to convert nobody. I'm not standing up here trying to convert you. I'm giving you suggestions and ideas of what you can do to utilize to live this life better. That's it. And if you don't, I still love you and bless you. Right? I mean, because we get to choose how it is. It's just like when you was a kid and you were playing, and if you got hurt and you went inside and complained or cried, what did they tell you? Or get on back out there. Why? Because what they're saying is it's going to be all right. Right? They didn't give you a long lecture. They just said, go do it again. Go climb up there. Now, if you really hurt yourself, they would see how bad it was, and then they would take you to the doctor or whatever. But in most instances, get on back out there. Well, don't you come up here, don't you be running in and out of this house, open up that door, letting them flies in. I mean, we got to recognize it. See, we have to see life happening the way it does for us and what it means. Break it down. Make it simple for yourself. And don't be ashamed because you don't get it or they're not hearing me. Hear yourself. Hear yourself. Go back to the drawing board, pull out the book, face east. If you need to face east, face east. If you need to face north, if you need to get on your knees, get on your knees. Whatever you need. But do it. And don't condemn your circumstance. Don't do it. From this day forward, don't condemn it. And I know, man, I don't condemn it. Well, you know what? We don't mean to. But sometimes we do just because out of the ignorance of what we're thinking and what we're going through. So Stop it. Once we allow our Father's divine guidance to lead, it will remove the fear, the doubt, the anxiousness, the procrastination, and replace it with faith, belief, and confidence. Stir it up. Stir it up within you that you need. Find it. See, because wherever we are and whatever we may be doing, in reality is God. Know who you are. Know that you have the power. I'm going to be a good person. These circumstances only reveal to us what is possible. And it is the way we view these possibilities that will determine the way we respond. We must accept and adhere to the following. Divine mind, which is God's nature, it's just the way it works on our behalf. We just got to find a way in our humble and a little, just go study and just see how. And, you know, like my mother used to say, just sit there and let it bring it to you. Don't ask me, you just sit there and you let it come to you, right? Just start where you are. And I know sometimes it's hard to sit still for more than a couple minutes. I know, especially when it's hot. I know. And then we have to understand or study divine law. And that's just the process in which the manifest universe works. So basically, you know, it's sort of like what I said earlier, that a man speaks, it goes out, and it comes back into fruition, right? That's basically all it is. And then we have to become that thing, the divine idea, which is the Christ mind, the Christ man, excuse me. See, because there is but one mind, and that mind is God. And it cannot be separated or divided, because separation separates the connection, and it is indivisible. What we must believe of the one mind is that it is absolute, and that all manifestations are the essence of itself. Ernest Holmes describes it like this: divine mind is the creative power behind everything, the functioning and the principle of being, the spirit in action. Mind is not a thing, mind is. It hears, it accepts the idea, and then it visions the idea. And then the idea manifests itself in reality. Take a look around. We've done it. People have done it, but God through us. Then he goes on to say, it is that which through an orderly process produces things. Divine mind first conceives the idea, see? Then it images it, its fulfillment. Man, acting in cooperation, we got to work with it, places himself under the same creative law, and thus brings his ideas into manifestation. So guess what? We have created every circumstance in our lives that we've experienced. That's what it's saying. But you know what? They too shall pass. So in closing, I allow the presence of God to permeate me with this power and with peace, and I realize I am built by God, I am led by Spirit, and I walk by faith. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.